So, hi, Kimra. I'm so excited to have you here and be able to chat with you today.
Hi, thanks for having
Hello.
me.
So, just some background for the viewers. So, I'm aware of you because we're both in the B School community. And for those that don't know who B School is, it's an online program run by Marie Forleo to help us all run better online businesses. And Kimra, in the crowd that's there, you're one of the real standouts. Your business is booming. You offer such great content and programs, and I love attending your webinars. You're really real, and you convey such a lot of content, and it's so easy for us all to follow. So thank you, because I know you're busy. As we've talked about, you've got a family and you're pregnant, so thanks for taking the time to chat, because I want to talk about living an authentic life.
You're very welcome. I'm very excited to be here to talk to all your audience.
Thank you. So let's talk about your background just to start with. Tell me about your online business and your journey to where you've got to now.
Yeah, it's been a pretty interesting journey. Like you said, I had joined B School, and I joined that in March because I knew that I was great at teaching people about online marketing. I had previously been in a network marketing company, and in that company, they actually I had actually been training on a corporate level with that company, and that's when I fell in love with training. And I was like, oh my God, I love training, and it was something I just had a kind of a natural knack of doing. So I was just like, okay, I want to start my own business doing this. So I joined V School so I could get a solid foundation and so I could connect with awesome people like you, and so that I could be surrounded by other, female entrepreneurs who just want to, live the life that they've always wanted to live. And yeah, I started in March. It took until almost May for me to get my website up and, figure out what I was actually going to sell and that sort of stuff. And yeah, it just really took off pretty quickly. Once I hit May, I really hit the ground running. Once the website was up, I was just like, I'm all in, and I just went for it.
So you've, from a business point of view, you've done phenomenal. Do you mind sharing some of the successes you've had just to give people the insight to how well you have actually done?
Yes, my first launch was in August. I did have like few smaller, like $200 and a $27 like little course that I was selling before that. And when I first started, I actually didn't have anything to sell. I just started doing webinars because I wanted to grow my audience. I was like, I got to just give people value. Even if I don't have anything to sell to them, I'll just give them value. And I started doing these webinars, and people started asking me to do business coaching. They're like, are you a business coach? And I was just like, well, tomorrow I'll be a business coach. And so I made a sales page, and I put it up, and I got 3 clients the next day. And it was kind of crazy because I mean, like I said, I wasn't expecting to become a business coach, and so I was just like, okay, I'll just go with the flow, like I'm really a go with the flow type of person. So I decided, all right, let's just do it. And so I started coaching some people, and as I was coaching them, and as I was growing my community, I have a pretty strong Facebook group called the Freedom Hackers Mastermind, and that group has grown to like 35,000 online entrepreneurs in just about 6 months time. And being in that group and doing webinar presentations and seeing people's questions, I was able to really see what people needed. So I put together a program called Be True Brand You, and I did my first launch of that in August of this year. So I started in May. And, well, I don't know when people are going to be watching this. It'll be probably next year. But in May 2014, I started my business. And then in August, I launched my signature course. So that whole time I spent, just giving my audience lots of value, just sharing who I was and what my passions were and how I wanted to help them through that time. And then in August, I did my launch, and I made $62,000 in sales on my first launch. And then in November, I opened up the doors to the program because there was a lot of people who were just like, I really want in, and I want to get in before the new year comes so that I could start the new year off, right, with my business being built and everything. And I opened the doors for the week of Thanksgiving. I was just like, oh, it'll be kind of like a little Black Friday sale type of thing. And I opened the doors then, and I made $42,000 in sales. And that was just with Be True Brand You. Overall, with my entire business, when it comes to like group coaching programs I've done and some of my smaller courses, like one was a $200 course and one is now like a $67 course. And I also have another a Facebook training I have that's like $40. All of that stuff combined, I've made over $160,000 in sales in 6 months of business. So it happened very, very quickly, and I really believe that the reason why is because I just am myself. I don't try to be fake in any sort of way. I didn't tell people, oh yeah, I have this fancy business training, credentials or like anything like that. I was just myself, and they saw how I was as a teacher, particularly through my webinar presentations, and they were like, I want this person to teach me something, I want her to help guide me. And I didn't have to try to be anything but who I was. And I'm always completely honest with people. If someone asks me a question and I don't know the answer, say, I don't know the answer to that. But guess what? I'll find you the answer, and I'll find you the expert who can help you with that. I don't try to pretend to be anything I'm not. I just am who I am. And it's how I've always been, though. Like, it's not something where I was just like, I'm going to be in business and I'm just going to be authentic because that's the thing to do. Like, no, like, it's just who I am. I've always acted like this. I've always just been like, whatever. If people don't like me, they don't like me. If they like me, they like me, whatever. And that's just how I am.
Fantastic. I love that story because I think, I come from a corporate background, and I do think it's an environment that you can sometimes buy into, that there's a persona you have to portray and that you have to have all the answers. And that's why I love this community and I love what you do, because it's so obvious that you are just being genuine. And like you say, you may not have the answers, but boy, you know how to get the answers, and you're just authentic, and people see you for who you are. And I think, you're very genuine as well and very giving, and I think that's why people do love you, as well as the fact you help them. So I want to drill a little bit deeper into, because you've said this is who you've always been. I think if that, you're very fortunate, because I know for me it's a struggle I've always had with wanting to be genuine, but am I really in my heart being presenting who I want to be? So before I go off sidetrack from my questions, because I will lose focus, maybe could you just give a little bit of an insight into your personal life, a little bit about your philosophies around family and health and just your approach, really, just a little bit of a sneak peek into how you live your life.
Yeah, I live my life very differently than even a lot of people. I have 2 kids. I have a 5-year-old and an almost 3-year-old. He'll actually be 3 tomorrow. And I'm also pregnant, and I have a wonderful husband. And I think just our philosophy on life is very different than other people. We really believe in just helping, and when you just help from the place of your heart, people are just going to resonate with that, and you don't have to do anything. There's no have tos, there's no shoulds. People ask me all the time, like, what are your favorite business books? I'm just like, I don't know, I haven't read any of them. Because I don't want something like that to give me rules that I'm supposed to follow, because I don't know, to me, it's like I feel like, yes, there's all of these strategies that work. Come on, there's like a bajillion business coaches. There's zillions of business books and rules. And my whole life, it's like I've never wanted to live by the rules. And that was actually why, like I said before, I was in a network marketing company, and there was a lot of rules on how you can market and how I could teach people who were on my team who signed up with me. And there was, to me, I just felt like I was inside of a box, and I'm just like, I can't live this way. Like, I cannot live this way. I enjoy training so much, and I just want to be able to be out there and do what I love to do. Like, I literally enjoy it so much. I'm obsessed with this, obsessed, because I love it so much. And people ask, like, oh, how many hours a day do you work? And I'm just like, it don't matter how many hours a day I work. I love what I do. It has not, to me, it's not even work. I enjoy it. And anything I don't like doing, now I hire other people to do those things for me, you know? So, I mean, of course, in the beginning, you do have to hustle, and there is that part where some people might feel like they're not being genuine because they're hustling, or because they're making sales, or they're learning how to do a sales pitch, you know? And I really feel like all people have gifts to give to the world, and gifts are meant to be given. And if you aren't going out there and actually making the sale, you're not giving your gifts. Because some people are just like, oh, well, you could just do that stuff for free. And I'm like, but it's not the same thing. Because if somebody pays for like a coaching session from you or anything from you, they're more likely to actually take that information. It's kind of like my husband. He always says this to me. Like, my husband will give me like advice and I don't listen to him. And it's because it's free, right? But then if somebody else who is like, you know, someone who I like look up to or something like that says it, then I take the advice. And he's like, it's just because you perceive what they said as more value. And I really believe that when it comes to marketing and giving, it's like we all, you know, we all deserve to be paid for what we want to give out into the world. And I think that's, you know, it's a big internal struggle. I've had a lot of clients who like struggle, like, you know, like, well, I'm not the expert in this. And I always just say, like, you know something a little bit more than another person. You know, like if you're teaching a little kid to tie his shoes, you're an expert shoe tire, right? Like, you know, the kid is not the expert yet, you know, and you're teaching him and helping him. So everybody is a teacher, and everybody has all that value to share, and that's something I really truly believe. You know, like my husband, no, he definitely does not want to have a business like mine. He does not want to be here on camera, you know, being interviewed. He does not want to, I mean, he doesn't even use his Facebook page, you know, like, you know, so he doesn't want that. He chooses to be the support. That's his role, you know, and I believe all people have those sorts of roles. You know, I have another friend who she loves being a virtual assistant, you know, and there's all these people thinking like, oh, you're just trading time for money, blah blah blah, and like they almost kind of bash it when she's like, I enjoy this. She's like, I love being the support for other people's brands. And I think we don't have to change who we are. We definitely got to find out who we are, because there are a lot of shoulds out there and people telling us, oh, you should do this and you should do that. And it's just really not the case. When you go with the flow and what you just feel is best and how you want to do it, it usually turns out to be the best result. You know, so it's kind of funny, but I mean, and that's even how I parent with my kids. Like my whole life is that way. I just really believe that everybody has value to give into the world, and you know, my kids, they have value to give to my family, even though they're not necessarily paying the bills, but they still have value to give to everybody around them. And I believe that's same for any person on the planet.
So I think you've covered so many good points there. I think what makes me think about is, you know, there was a number of things actually, but one of them, you were talking about listening to your own voice and, you know, not expecting yourself to know everything. And, you know, I think that's a really good point, because we sometimes think, I don't know it all, and I know I'm someone, being an A-type, I need to be the expert or feel like I am before I step into it. But what I really hear you saying is, take whatever your skill is and don't try to claim you know everything, but just be yourself and give whatever you can of what you've got. The one thing I'd like to try to get some insight that you might be able to provide is, I had a conversation with a woman in her 20s the other day, a highly capable woman, you know, got a great family dynamic, and she's got some goals and dreams she'd like to pursue, and her father was giving her some guidance from a father's perspective at an older age, and giving her probably what I saw as the safe route, and saying, well, do you really want to do that? Do you really want to travel? You know, settling down. And, you know, she's in her early 20s. What I'd like to ask you is, you know, if you're talking to someone in their 20s and you're trying to give them that advice between taking the smart approach and the shoulds and all what the world tells us versus what we feel, what sort of advice would you give them, and how to make that decision, I suppose, or how to tap into that voice inside us?
Yeah, I mean, for me, especially with someone who is wanting to travel, I'd say freaking travel. Part of the reason why I have had so much, so, what they call life experience is because I traveled. From the time I was 17, I was traveling and touring with punk rock bands. I was able to learn about such a diverse cultures, even here just in the United States. I was able to learn about all the different cultures even here. And, it's, to me, doing things like that and like learning and growing personally is the most important work that there is. It is more important than anything else, because if you're not bettering yourself, how is the world ever going to be better? Or how are you going to be able to give better out and better, value out into the world? How are you going to be able to help people if you're not bettering yourself? And I like to spend a lot of time bettering myself by listening to, audios and things like that. I mean, I'm not like a hardcore meditator, just because meditation just like makes me fall asleep, and I like to be like Energizer Bunny, like fat. I like to move. I really think that it's more about what you feel will benefit you in the long run, and when you are in your early 20s, to me, it's important to be able to get that time to travel before you have, all the kids and things like that. Like me, I have 2 kids, and right now, and because I got pregnant, I had to delay some traveling I wanted to do. I actually really, really wanted to travel at the end of this year and move to Europe and all this. I had all these plans, and then, ta-da, I'm pregnant again, And so those plans have not happened. I have to wait till after the baby's born now. So I still am going to be able to start traveling again, and I want to bring my children traveling because I know that I know the lifestyle, and I know how much you learn from that. You learn so many crucial communication skills and life skills that when you do want to do something like possibly a business, or even land a great job, you learn those skills that you can't learn from a book, that you can't learn from school. Getting out into the world is it's just a whole different thing, and the learning experience for me was just completely incredible. I spent a few years touring almost nonstop, traveling, and especially when you're on the road, when you're touring, you have a lot of time to work on your inner beingness because there's a lot of quiet time. You're just on a bus and you're traveling to the next place. And you're doing that every night, and it really gave me time to learn who I was, and I grew a lot compared to how I was when I was 17, 18 years old, just mentally and spiritually, and understanding how to communicate with people, all that sort of stuff, just from getting out into the world. And to me, it's just like, if you're in your 20s and you don't have any obligations tying you down, get your butt out there and go, just go and do it and enjoy this beautiful planet that we were put on.
Well, it's pretty much what I said to her, without trying to be biased. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm. It's like, it's difficult because people they want to make the smart decision, but to me, there's no such thing as a smart decision, because the decision should always be what's coming from your heart and what you feel is going to help you grow as a person. That's always what the decision should be. I mean, you want to grow, and if you're not growing, you just end up, making decisions based off of what other people think you should be doing, and then you end up being depressed and not happy and not fulfilled with your life. And it's like, how many people get into their 40s and 50s and then they're barely realizing that they spent their whole life doing what they didn't want to do? It's like, who wants to be that? Like, I don't. I'm just like, no, I do not want to be at that point where I'm just like, what have I been doing for the past 20 years, I want to be where it's just like, oh, I did this, and I'm doing this, and this happened to me, and I'm having all these life experiences, and it's like, we only live once, it's not like we're, you know what I mean? It's like, you only live once, and so it's like, to me, I don't see the point. And I mean, I'm going to be the same way with my kids. I'm not going to be like, yeah, you need to go to college, blah, blah. I'm be like, no, travel, kid, here's some money, go catch a train, get out of here, you know? Like, go live your life and enjoy this, you know, like I said, this planet with all of this diversity on it. It's here for us to explore. You know, we're not, I don't think humans are meant to just sit still. You know, I think we're meant to move. And yeah, so, and I don't care if people think I am being biased, because whatever, I am.
I just love a lot of things you're saying here, because I think, you know, I'm in my 40s, and we're not going to say exactly what 40 age I am, but I think it's the normal journey we were told people would have. As you get to your 40s and you go, what the flip, what was I doing? And I was ticking the boxes everyone else did. And that's my big thing, is I don't want women in their 20s to do that. I don't want them to be pleasing other people. It's really, like you say, listen, having the confidence to listen to yourself and just doing what matters to you. And not necessarily what just makes you happy, but what is going to keep growing you, like you say, and stretching you and making you feel alive, because we are here to live our lives. So, I mean, I just love so much of what you're saying. What I'd really like to get a feel for is, you know, you've talked about growing, you know, I suppose getting out there, living life. And one thing I really believe in is we have to be conscious in what we do. You can't just, you know, expect the world, things to happen without you consciously doing something. You have to consciously say, this is how I want to live. You know, I want to eat well. I want to give to people. This is who I want to be. This, you have to make some pretty clear decisions, and then they help you make your choices. And I do think who you have around you and who you allow to input you affects you in a way. It's just who we are. So if you were to say, look, these are the people that I do admire, you know, you've talked about mentors, you've talked about you don't want to meditate all the time because you like more high energy. What are some of the people you would say, yes, you resonate with or you admire, and what are some of those activities you actually do consciously to keep you and your authentic self?
Yeah, that's a pretty deep question. But and
Yes,
I
we're
do
going to.
definitely agree when it comes to surrounding yourself with people who are going to support you in what you do. I've had a lot of people who have been like, oh, you know, like, you know, or my husband doesn't want me to do this, or they think it's just a hobby, or, you know, like they get these naysayers. There's always going to be naysayers. That's just how life is. And I feel a lot of times it's just because they are jealous that they aren't going what their life purpose is, or, you know, like what they feel is best for them. They're okay and they're satisfied doing their thing, and that's whatever, but they don't know how to support and uplift. And I think one of the things that's so beautiful about this time and space that we are in is that we have the internet. And on the internet we can find people who support us in our dreams and our goals. And for me, it's like when I started becoming, because like I said, I'm from like the punk rock world, and when I started becoming, you know, more positive and more spiritual and more just like wanting to go on my own path, I lost a lot of friends. I mean, most of the people, I mean, they're not even my Facebook friends anymore. They deleted me. You know, and I'm like, I've known you for like 10 years and you deleted me, you know? Because I'm just on a different journey than them. And we have to be okay with being on a different journey than people. You know, if you had someone who has been your friend for 10 years and they're holding you back from your dreams, why would you keep being friends with them? To me, it doesn't make any sense, because you're not going to be able to fulfill yourself. You know, the whole, I mean, you know, it's like when people are on their deathbed, they want to say that they felt a fulfilled life, not that they were just like, oh, I was listening to my friends all the time. Or my parents or my family. You know, nobody says that. Like, everybody says, like, I wish I would have done this, I wish I would have done that. Well, we live in a world where we have the opportunity to do anything we want. You know, you can read so many stories of tons of, you know, young entrepreneurs, you know, young people going out there and living their dreams. I mean, there's people who are like 18 years old and they are millionaires from YouTube channels. You know, it's like, and they're just doing what they love, making funny videos and just doing whatever they like. And they are able to live the life of their dreams. They're able to travel. They're like on talk shows and all this stuff. And most of the time, they had no clue it was going to become that. There's actually a new documentary that just came out on Netflix. It's all about YouTubers and ones who, became, wealthy from using YouTube. And most of them said, I didn't even know what the heck I was doing. I was just wanting to have fun. And they followed that passion of having fun, and it brought them amazing opportunities in their life. So to me, it's just like, now I'm forgetting the question. I started wandering off, but it's really just all about following that bliss that's inside of you, because we all have those things, and we can't let other people who are naysayers, people who aren't supportive of us, we can't let them bring us down. And it's difficult, especially when it comes to family. I was raised in a family where people were not supportive of what I wanted to do, and I literally left. Like, I graduated high school and I was like, bye everyone, peace out, I'm going to go do something else, because I didn't want to be surrounded by that environment anymore. And now they're much better. Now they're way, way supportive of me and everything like that, but it's been 10 years, right? But before they weren't, and so I had to pave my own path that I really wanted. I just went for it. I was born and raised in Idaho, and in Idaho there's not a lot of opportunity. I mean, I have so many friends that still live there, and most of them, they still can't get good jobs even though they've gone to college and graduated. I'm like, well, why are you living there? And they just do. And to me it's confusing, because I'm just a person that would not do that. I'd be bored out of my mind if I stayed there. But we live at a time and place where you can literally just change locations and have so much opportunity right at your fingertips to anything that you want to do. And nowadays, even people, like I've seen people, there's this one guy, he lived in Alaska, and he is a singer, and he started like making YouTube videos, and like he got a record deal. Okay, back in the day, there was no way someone from Alaska was going to be getting any sort of record deal. There's no record labels up there, right? So, but now we have the internet, and it is a place where we can find all that support system. We can find people who want to help us build up and grow and be better people, and we can just click delete on all those people who aren't supportive of us. And that's one of the things I love about the online world, because, I mean, a year and a half ago, well, about 2 years ago, I was living in Virginia. I had no friends and family there. I had nothing. The only thing I had was the internet. And with the internet, I was able to find all these amazing people who I have been able to learn from, and I learned about, podcasts, and I just learned about the whole online world in general, and I just became in love with it. I just loved it. And, it was really just life-changing for me to have the internet and access to amazing people. And that's what I told you, why I joined B School, was so I can have access to amazing people. I really wanted to be surrounded by awesome people, because I knew if I saw all these other women and they were doing all these great things, then it would encourage me to be able to do that too, to be able to do the great things I want to do. So definitely, yes, surround yourself with good people. And it is hard when it's family. I know it is, because I still get naysayers in my family, and I'm just like, whatever. I just ignore them now. So.
Yeah, I can relate to that story, yes. And I love what you're saying about the internet, because I'm from a generation where I remember the day the internet turned on, and I was one of the few that was incredibly excited, and I can still remember sitting there going, what shall I search for? Because there wasn't a lot to search for back then, but I was going to search for anything. I was just going to try it. And I just love that whole, it is perspective, because we hear a lot of negativity about the new tools we have in technology, and yes, there is the negative side. But when we turn it around, like you say, what we can learn and connection and community, it's phenomenal. And I know for me, I do the job I do today because I self-taught myself on the internet, and now I'm in digital marketing because I was able to access all this material where nobody else chose to do that. And to me, it's so empowering. I think it's the time for women, because the internet is about democratizing information, it's about collaboration, it's about supporting each other. And that works for us. It's how we naturally operate. So it's no better time for us to do all these good things and give ourselves choices. I think it's just, it's
Exactly.
so
And I mean,
exciting.
when you think about Kickstarters and like all this stuff, I mean, there's all these people who are just able to do anything they want because of the internet.
Yeah.
These are things that would not have been happening before. I mean, there's people who have invented these things and they're making like $1 million for their Kickstarter to fund their little thing that they invented. And it's like, that would not have happened even 20 years ago. There's no way that would have happened to be able to get that many people to be behind something that you want to do. I mean, it's just, to me, the internet is just incredible. I love the internet. I'll be an internet junkie probably till the day I die.
Yeah, it's so exciting. I love it. So, and I think you're a great example where, you know, in a sense, if we talk, you know, the old school, that the power of the company and all that is taken away because the internet enables us to create something, and you're a great example of that. But I think if people are sitting there with fear about what should I do, what are my options, they are really broad, and they shouldn't just see the one path. And if they're concerned about things, then they need to just get into these communities and see what their choices are, because I'm sure there are women sitting there going, but I don't know what my natural skill is. I'm not a singer. I'm not funny. You know, I don't feel I have a natural gift. But they could be really surprised, like you're saying, what they could give the world that somebody out there needs, because your world now isn't just your neighborhood, it's the planet, and there's got to be some other people like you or me and everybody else to connect and support and make a difference in people's lives. So it's, yeah, our choices and options are a lot broader.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So we've sort of, I feel like, you know, just like women, we could talk about a whole lot of deep, heavy stuff, and it's all good, but we could really do that. I sort of feel like women, when they, you know, when I talk to someone like you that I see is so capable and fearless in a way, and so, you know, I'm sure you've developed the skills to believe in yourself and to listen to your instinct. But I also like to get into the detail of, so how do you live your life day to day? You know, you are busy, you've got children, like we were talking about, you know, you're pregnant and that's not been going as great, but you're still bringing in a 6-figure income. I'd love some insight to just some of the day-to-day stuff you do. How do you prioritize in your week? How do you ensure you give time for yourself and still stay authentic and centered? You know, just some of that boring, mundane stuff. How do you do your day-to-day?
Yeah, I mean, usually for me, it's like I wake up in the morning and I have to eat right away because I'm pregnant. And I have to eat right away or else I'm really nauseous. So I eat first thing, and then usually after that, that's when, you know, I get online, check my emails. I'm not a big email junkie. A lot of people spend way too much time on emails. I don't. I get in there and I'm just like, delete, 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 delete. Okay, that's important. Delete, delete, delete. Check the few that are important, and then I'm done with it. Like, I probably spend 10 minutes a day emailing.
Wow, I got to
When
learn
it
that.
comes to, yeah, I got a very good skill when it comes to that, because my husband's like, how long do you spend on emails a day? I'm like, what do you mean? I haven't even checked it yet. So I try not to spend too much time on emails. And then when it comes to like social media, I tend to spend a lot of my time like on Facebook, connecting with my ideal customers, connecting with my audience, and just people who I like, you know, peers and people I just like. And I do spend a lot of time doing that, but most of the time I'm usually just like laying in bed and I'm on my phone. So it's like, it's not technically like work for me, because I'm not, to me, laying down in bed, you're not like working. But I'm still connecting and I'm still able to give other people value just by talking and bringing conversations up. Like even the other day I was inside of a group and I had like brought up a conversation. There was just something that was just on my mind, and everyone's like, man, you bring up great conversations. I'm just like, oh, why, thank you. And to me, even that is giving to the world, just being able to bring up a good conversation, because people want to think, and that's part of helping other people grow, is by you know, even asking a simple question that helps them think, and they're just like, wow, I never thought of something that way, or, you know, that's a different perspective. And I think we live in a time where there's so many perspectives and we are able to look at things from different angles because, like I said, we have the internet, we have access to all that sort of stuff. But anyway, so usually, I spend, time online, and then I spend time, of course, with my actual customers inside of my group that I have that's just for my customers. I spend time helping them. So I don't spend a ton of time in my business. Right now, I do have a launch coming up, and January is going to kind of be my pre-launch mode, and then February I'm doing a full-on launch. So I am going to be working a lot during the next few weeks, but I do have an assistant now who is doing a lot more of the mundane type of things, like duplicating Facebook ads and just other things that it's simple things. I just need them to duplicate what they are, so I can have more value out into the world. But yeah, I mean, my days just really aren't that complicated. Some days I don't do any business stuff at all. If I just want to sit around and watch The Office on Netflix or Doctor Who all day, I will do that. And I don't beat myself down if I don't do anything, because like I said, I am pregnant, and some days I'm emotional. Some days I'm just like, I just don't want to leave my room. Other days I'm just like, I just want to get up and I just want to make like 20 videos. So it depends on my day. I really am a go with the flow type of person, and I see all these people, they like make all these calendars with all these charts and all this stuff, and to me, I'm just like, that would drive me crazy. Like, I cannot do that. And I know it's just my personality. Some people would call my personality lazy, or like, like there's people that would literally think that I'm lazy, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? I get so much value and content to my audience. I'm definitely not lazy, but I know there's people that would think I am if they saw me on a day-to-day basis, because I don't sit and I'm not just like obsessed with like, oh my gosh, I gotta be doing work and I gotta be tweaking my website every 5 seconds, and like all those things. That stuff, I'm just like, you know what, my website doesn't have to be perfect. I'm a real person. There was someone who I had done like a webinar, and the registration page had like a typo on it, and then like commented on my thing like totally being like a hater, like, if you're not like, gonna spend your time fixing all your typos, and that made me like not want to like click and sign up. And I just said, I don't care. Like, I am a pregnant mom with 2 kids, and if I have a typo on something, it's gonna freaking happen. Like, that is life. Nobody is perfect. And I think because I don't spend my time trying to be so perfect at everything, I think that actually saves me a lot of time. I think a lot of people's downfall is they're trying to be like, my website needs to be perfect. No, it does not. My first website, I built it by myself. It definitely was not perfect. I was horrible at writing copy. I'm a lot better now, but I was horrible back then. It was not perfect in any way, shape, or form. My sales pages weren't perfect. There was stuff mixed up on the page and not in the right spots, and it was not perfect. I mean, it looked good, but it was not perfect. And I think because I've been able to let go of perfectionism and just forgive myself, particularly because I'm pregnant. I'm just like, you know what? I'm pregnant. I ain't even going to try to be perfect. So, and I think that's really helped me just be like, it doesn't have to be perfect, because since I've done my business, I've done everything just kind of on the fly, like I'm just like I said, like people were just like, oh, are you a business coach? I'm just like, I'll be a business coach tomorrow, I guess. And I just like whipped up a sales page real fast overnight. It wasn't even perfect either. And then I sent it to the people that had asked me if I was a coach, and then 3 people signed up, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. Like, I just did it. And I think because I do take a lot of actions. I am a very action-oriented person, but I also take a lot of breaks. I could be like, especially like after this podcast, well, since I already have my makeup on, I already have my lights all set up, I might as well record a video, right? like I'm already in the mode. So I'll definitely, after this, I'll just be like, all right, crank out some videos, do some stuff. Like, I'll totally get into productivity mode. But tomorrow is my son's birthday. I'm just going to spend time with the birthday all day. I'm not going to worry about my business. I probably won't even check my Facebook. I'm just, except for to see who's showing up. you know, like so for me it's like my daily routine, it's different every single day. I mean, with kids, there's no such thing as a routine with these kids. Like it just doesn't happen. Sometimes they wake up at 8 a.m., sometimes they wake up at 11 a.m. So, it's like there's no schedule. I guess you could say there's no schedule in my life. So, and it's okay. It's okay. I like it that way.
Oh, I love it because I was the contrast as a mother, and definitely even now on holidays I have a schedule, and part of my philosophy at the moment is stop trying to be so perfect, because I'm not actually doing the work, and I'm not doing the stuff that I love, and I'm not giving to people. And I love listening to you, because I think what I'm hearing is that you love yourself for who you are, and you focus on other people and what you can give them, and whatever way you can get to that, then that's what you're about. And
Exactly.
yeah, and I just think that's really, it's fantastic. And I think more of us, particularly as women, we read the data that women, we don't rate ourselves as confidently as men. We undersell ourselves, and boy, we've got to stop doing that and actually just love who we are and just give out what we can and just live life. And if you want to stay in bed all day and eat pizza or whatever you wanted, you didn't say that, but that would be what I'd be doing. Then, it's all good, whatever you choose to do, because you're obviously incredibly time productive when you are, and you're still getting the job done. So however we get it done, it's not how we do it that matters, it's what we do that matters. And
Exactly.
yeah, I just love hearing what you're saying. So thank you so much for this time. I've just, I knew I was going to learn a lot from you, but I've learned so much more than I anticipated. Just, if there's just one more thing that I haven't asked you about, or something you'd like to share with women about loving their life and being authentic, is there anything else you'd just like to sign off with?
People always ask me this, and I'm never ready for it.
Yeah, no, it's the last.
um,
Put the pressure on you.
yeah, well, I mean, my thing is, I remember when I was a teenager, one of the things I really wanted to do was inspire people. And it was really funny because there was this girl in my theater class, and I had told her, because people had asked me, like, what do you want to be when you grow up or whatever? And I had said, I just want to be a positive influence on people. Like, I don't necessarily want to be anything in particular. I didn't have any clear route, or, I want to be this or I want to be that. Like, I didn't have that at all. I just knew I wanted to be an influence on other women in particular, because in my family, I mean, I was raised in a very not good environment. It was not good environment. And, I remember it just distinctly as a teenager making the decision, I don't want to be like these people. I want to be different than them, and I want to just pave my own path and just make my own journey, and I'll just follow wherever the wind takes me. And I remember that girl in my theater class, she actually told me that I was egotistical because I wanted to be an influence on thousands of women. And I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, I just want to help people. Like, how is that egotistical? And I just remember, like, it was like my senior year of high school, and I said, well, that's what I want to be. And if me wanting to be in front of thousands of women, being able to help them as best I can is egotistical, then I guess that's what I am. And I just didn't care. And I think when you get to the point where you just no longer care what those people think about you or what anybody thinks about you, it becomes easy to just be yourself and go for it, and that's something, I want to teach my kids is, like, it doesn't matter what anybody says. It doesn't. Literally does not. Because you can choose to let it affect you or to not affect you. And I happen to be a person who was just like, screw you, like you say something mean to me or rude to me, or you try to bring me down, I'm just like, nope, get out of my life. You know, I've always I've been that way, and I remember making that decision as a teenager. Like, I'm not going to let people treat me badly. I'm not going to let people tear me down, and it has definitely worked to my advantage in life. Like, hugely so. So, I mean, even if I wasn't in business, you know, doing where I am, where I have a platform where I can inspire women and help women. Even if I didn't have that platform, I would still be doing it on a day-to-day basis. I would be doing it at the line in Starbucks. I would be doing it wherever I was at, just because that's what I always wanted to do. Like, it had nothing to do with you know, me necessarily wanting to have a business or anything, because when I was in high school, I didn't know this sort of stuff even existed, you know, and it might not have even existed back then, really, you know. So yeah, so for me, sorry, my camera is not focusing on me. There you go. So for me, you know, my message is just, you know, don't worry about what others are saying, which is very, very difficult. I know it is, because I've let other people bring me down from time to time, and I just gotta snap myself out of it and just be like, you know what they say doesn't matter. What my heart says is what matters, and I just go for it, you know. When I was 19 years old, I moved to California from Idaho with just my backpack and $50 in my pocket. I just was like, I just could not be around the toxic people that I was around in my life. I just had to get away from them. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to move to California, and I'm just going to make a better life for myself and start from scratch. And I did it. And I've heard some people say, like, oh, you shouldn't run away from problems. And I said, well, running away was the best decision I made. You know, it really was. I was able to focus on me and grow as a person, and now become the person that I am today. And of course, continually growing. I still got a lot of work to do, you know. But you know, to be able to be at a place where I feel I can be helping people, and I can be inspiring people to the best of my ability. And I'm getting better at it. I think I'm better now than I was even 6 months ago. So as you do it, you get better. You know, that's just life. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good thing to end on. So, Kimra, thank you so much. You're just like we started with. You're so genuine. Your business is fantastic, and you're helping women live their dreams. And you are doing what you wanted to do from that goal you set as a young child. So, I don't know how else to say thank you. It's been so, like I say, good to listen to you, and I've learned so much myself, and hopefully lots of other women do as well. So, thank you, thank you, thank you, and have fun at the birthday tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Third birthday party. The kids are growing up way too fast, but yes, it will be
and
awesome.
they do. So make the most of it and enjoy every moment.
I will. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Kimra. Bye.
Bye.